Hey there, and welcome to episode number 29 of season 2 of the World of Presentations podcast, brought to you by us at presentation agency 356 Labs. I'm Boris, your host and the founder of the company, and today we are talking to not just one, but two very special people whose names are Brad and Henrik from Pickit, one of our sponsors at Present to Succeed, the conference that we are organizing. But before you think that that's going to be a sales pitch here in the next 40 or 50 minutes, it's not. Relax. We're just going to talk about presentations, about the product, what it's doing, how it can help you, etc., etc. So Brad, Henrik, guys, welcome to the podcast. I'm super happy that we're doing this finally. It took us, 3 months to make this happen. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you, Boris. Great to be here.
Nice to be here.
Absolutely. Happy to have you. So Brad, let's start with you. Give us a little bit of info, just a short intro. Who are you? Let's start from you.
Short version, I'm an Australian Swede who has spent the last 5 years working with Pickit. I'm our director of marketing, and I have a background in communication, copywriting, and have done a fair bit of presenting too. So that's always been a passion of mine, just trying to communicate more clearly, whether it's on a stage, on a screen, or on a piece of paper, basically. So I'm a big fan of clear communication, and that's kind of what brought me to Pickit. And I'm now actually back in Australia after spending 20 years in Europe. So dialing in from the other side of the world.
Okay, wow, I didn't know that you have spent so much time in Europe, by the way. Okay, Henrik.
Yeah, it's a while.
You?
Yeah, I'm Henrik, and I'm a Swede still in Sweden. So and I'm actually one of the founders of this company. I come from the marketing branding part of the world. Started this company together with a person called Matthias, who is a sales guy. So I've been kind of teaching him how to do good presentations for almost 15 years now. So I think that's where my interest started, for helping people to really get up their level on how to present and how to work with presentations. But I've been basically working with design and communication and storytelling for my entire career, basically. So that's my background.
Brilliant. I know also Matthias, he's a great guy. We have to have him at some point in the podcast. I think he has a lot of things to share.
He has an interesting brain, I would say. You should definitely have him. Yeah,
I would agree.
but he's not really that good at presentations. But otherwise, he's a perfect person. Yeah.
Have you told that to him at some point?
Many times.
Okay.
that's kind of where Pickit started, because Henrik realized how much help Matthias needed, and then he realized there were more Matthiases out there who also had a lot of good ideas to share but didn't know how.
All right. Sounds good to hear. So there was a little bit, like we have mentioned, Pickit, obviously it's the #1 downloaded add-in for a tool like PowerPoint, a tool that like so many people all across the world from various demographics are using on a daily basis and depend on it. Like, what does it take to make a software, a tool, an add-in or whatever that becomes the #1 downloaded add-in for a platform, I would say, like PowerPoint? Henrik, maybe you can jump in here.
Well, I think, going back to that story about Matthias, the first thing about making something that is successful is just targeting a problem. And I think in this case, the problem working in PowerPoint nowadays is about getting access to content, getting access to good images, and doing that quite fast. And back in the days when we started, we realized that, like Brad said, that Matthias is the only one with this problem, and that hasn't got these skills to really work and find the right kind of content to his presentation. So, and back in at that point, we the only thing you had was basically clip art when we started. So I think we found this problem, and it's quite unique in terms of being not solved in PowerPoint specifically. So when we launched Pickit, we knew that the problem was massive, and we got this good traction from the beginning. And I think what helped us was actually that we also, back in the days, this is 6-7 years ago, we also at the same time launched an app for Windows Phone. I don't know if you remember that, Boris.
That,
We had
by the way, that was
a Pickit app.
You are asking, but that was my favorite smartphone platform. I love the Windows Phone. I gave up on Windows Phone, so it was so tough for me. And then I moved to iOS because Microsoft announced they're just not going to do anything about it. But I was keeping my Windows Phone till the end, like till the end. And then I moved to iOS, and then I was like, okay, wait a minute, Apple are really, really far ahead in this game.
Yeah, and I actually went from Apple and an iPhone to Windows Phone, and I loved the UI. I think there was such a good smartness in that, and really beautiful. But we actually combined people being able to upload images and people being able to find images in PowerPoint. So upload from Windows Phone, using them in PowerPoint was quite a good thing, and we got some good buzz around that. So I think that helped in the beginning. Now we are, together with Brad and the team, we are treating our addon as a very important asset. So the way we keep being the most downloaded is to become really relevant all the time for everyone that needs content, basically. So I think the problem is the first thing. We targeted the right problem. It's many people that has this problem, and the add-in is really good. I think that is the basic combination of a success.
Plus, you also moved to Seattle, right? Or some of you moved to Seattle?
Yeah, the story behind the company. When Matthias and I started, the way we reached out to Microsoft was actually through the legal team, because we knew again that if there's someone in this organization that has the problem with content and piracy and compliance, that's the legal part. So we talked to Microsoft Legal as a start, and they really understood what we wanted to do and what we wanted to bring into PowerPoint. After traveling back and forth between US and Sweden, we decided to get Matthias over there, so he could be on Microsoft's back all the time, and he's really good at that. He's just
he would literally just go and sit in the lobby, wouldn't he, Henrik, and just book meeting after meeting after meeting. He'd ambush people in the hallway. He'd do whatever.
We actually started. Yeah, we started like that, just sitting in the lobby, and people were asking, "What are you doing here?" Yeah, we want to meet like this person, and we didn't have a meeting, and they were like calling. Yeah, so that's that's a good way. So yeah, Matthias is like a weapon when it comes to really working big organizations and high up.
Yeah, that's commitment from his end. Going into Microsoft's lobby and just staying there until you get your meeting is, I would say, commitment. especially in the headquarters of Microsoft, having in mind how much security there is there. Yeah, kudos to him. Let's give it up for him on that one. Okay, so talking about the product, talking about the history of the product, what are if we have to name the main issues Pickit can solve for an individual or for a whole organization? Brad, maybe you can jump here and say a few words. What are the most common scenarios that Pickit solves for, again, either the individual or a full-blown organization? Like what's in there?
Yeah, well, I guess you could say we solved a few things, but it started with seeing all these terrible, boring presentations. We wanted to fix that. Then we realized to create great presentations, you need great images, but often they were really expensive, and the paper photo model that some people ran with, or different subscriptions that existed, were a bit complicated. So we started fixing those two things, because, if we're honest, most presentations are pretty bad, and we wanted to kind of help people to make their presentations more impactful. So they really do their work justice. Often people have a lot of great things to share, they just don't know how to package it. And one of the ways to speed things up and help them to spend more time on crafting the presentation was by putting the images actually inside PowerPoint with the add-in. So rather than having to, you know, jump onto a search engine and look for images there, and, you know, 85% of the images on most search engines that are downloaded and used are actually unlicensed and illegal. So that was another issue with compliance that we were solving. And we realized by putting the images in the task pane in PowerPoint, it just sped things up and made it so much easier for people. But what happened then is we realized, well, we've put the, you know, 1 million images that we have aggregated at people's fingertips in PowerPoint. Why not help them put their own images there too? Because most people, they're sitting with all kinds of different complicated storage systems, you know, hard drives, different filing systems and folders, and they just don't know where the latest content is from their own marketing department many times. And the marketing department, they prepare all this great content, new logos, product shots, staff photos, campaign material, whatever it is, but you know, people were using the wrong stuff, old stuff, out of date templates, all that sort of thing. So we started with solving boring presentations and expensive stock photo services, but we've really now moved even more so into cleaning up these complicated storage systems and consolidating everything all in one place in what we call the world's simplest DAM system, or digital asset management platform. So what it is you upload your own logos, your own content, anything you need to share, even documents, templates, you know, your brand guidelines, all kinds of things. You can just put it all in the Pickit add-in next to our library, and it's sitting there in PowerPoint. So all your employees, when they're creating a presentation or a Word doc for that matter, they've got all the content right there at their fingertips. So it's pretty.
Okay, Henrik. Yeah, go ahead.
Pretty nice.
Henrik, anything else? Like,
Yeah,
you are very involved with customers. Like, what are they saying you're helping them with?
Yeah, I think I want to add a small thing to this, but it's I think it's a big puzzle piece in terms of, we have something called Pickit Academy, and when you talk about people making, what are the mistakes you actually do when you make a presentation? I think many times you don't really, I mean, like Brad said, people are not educated in this terms of design or layout, communication, but also storytelling. I think you add too much. One thing is you add too many elements. I mean, Boris, you talk a lot about that. I totally agree with what you talk about. I think also if you add storytelling and some kind of very simple ideas about how people should think when they want to engage people, because a presentation is about engaging. It's about persuading something, or it's about engage or activate people. If you have 5 minutes, you can't put stuff into a presentation that is a content of an hour. You have to engage people on, or make them interested to see more, and that is just showing visuals, and that's also why I think our solution is really good, because it's really visual, and the emotional part of a message when you have a presentation online or wherever you are is basically by a visual, since you're not writing a book or anything like that. So I think what people are saying to me when we talk is that we have a fast, very simple system, but it's not only about a good template or awesome pictures, it's also about some guidance and help in combination. And this guidance needs to be, excuse the expression, but it needs to be for dummies. These are not people that are educated. You have to have a very, very simple step into this world. And by making that simple as well, then you can kind of get people to, I did, my last presentation was 20% better than my first one. And then you kind of get them engaged in this, and they want to learn more, and you enable people to actually become really good at presenting. So I think that's what I get plenty of feedback on, that our system is both just a very smart way of distributing stuff, but also this academy, the combination of that is really awesome.
Okay, so if because we managed, you said the system, let's kind of elaborate a little bit more about like all of the possibilities, all of the options, all of the products, if you wish, that Pickit offers, because there are, you can say that it's not just one thing. You already mentioned the academy. Give us like a short overview of what can people expect. Like if I'm the individual, what can I get? If I'm the business, or if I'm a huge organization, what can I get from you guys? Like give us an overview there.
I think in terms of being the buyer in this case, you are in a marketing department. You work a lot with marketing and brand communication. I think what we give you is a very simple way of getting control and manage all your assets. Basically, you can put in all your images, videos, documents, like Brad said, in a very smart, simple system. And what you also get from that is that and I think there are many systems where you can actually put your stuff in, you can distribute that to your colleagues. But what we promise, or what's in our DNA, is that we love the end users. So for a marketing or brand person, you get some kind of guarantee that the end users love what they put into the system. If you're an end user, you get something that is on your level, that is kind of simple for you to use. You don't have to think twice. You can find things really fast, but also you get this kind of coaching and probably a self-esteem. You build up the way you can present and use images and content in a good way. So I think and you get an ROI as a marketing department. You get an ROI in terms of that you get more usage for your content. And what we cover now is all the media files, like Brad said, documents, but also some smart insight tools in the system that shows you how people search, what they look for, what they download, what they don't download, and so on. So it's all in a combination there. And the last part is called guidelines. This is where you can put your more, I would say, the more basic guidelines that you have around your brand, that you want to share with your colleagues in contextual moments when they sit and do presentations like it.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I can just add, as an individual, you can start with, there's something called Pickit Pro, which will just give you access to our library of 1 million images, audio files, videos, and so on. That's all licensed and free to use for anything. But then as you realize, hang on, this is probably something my organization needs, then you can switch to business, and then, preferably to enterprise, where you actually get the full suite of everything that Henrik mentioned. So, there's different plans to suit different situations and circumstances.
Yeah, and when I approached you guys for the conference that we are running in April, Present to Succeed, for everyone who still hasn't heard about it for some reason, you were like very, very open and all in to partner together with us to make that happen. And then I believe it was Brad's idea to do something really crazy, in regards to crazy in a good way, all right? Really crazy, to do a really interesting giveaway, I would say, to, like, Brad, can you, because when you came up, or when the team came up with the whole idea of you giving up and just allowing for each and every ticket to get licenses for Pickit, which cost more than 200 euros each, even though you can buy the cheapest ticket for our conference, which is 49 euros. Yet one of the things that you get is more than 200 euros in licenses for Pickit. What are people getting when they buy a ticket for Present to Succeed, no matter what the ticket is? Like, brief us on that one.
Yeah, good question. I mean, we just wanted to, we love Present to Succeed, the whole concept, and we love what you've been doing for a long time, Boris, and just made sense to us to, that we really believe in Pickit. We believe it will add so much value to these people that, even if it's a little crazy to give them something, worth 4 times what the entry level ticket is, it's just, it's a great way to help people get started on their journey with, you know, improving presentations, but also improving all their digital asset management. And we think it's going to be a win-win, because people will see, you know, the value Pickit adds, and long term it will be great for everybody. So we decided to give as you said, a 1-year subscription to the you know, the full Pickit Enterprise solution. That includes everything that Henrik just mentioned. So document distribution, you know, integration with Dropbox and Getty Images. It supports video and audio. You can share internally and externally. You get, you know, an insights dashboard with analytics on how your content's being used, what people are searching for, what's popular, what's not. You get custom branding, APIs. You get, you know, everything, all the secure cloud storage, the templates, the, you know, the whole lot, and you get access to our built-in media library too, with over 1 million licensed images and other types of content. So, and what we're doing is we're giving away 3 enterprise licenses. So it's not just the one person at the organization, but actually, you know, they can get a couple of colleagues on board too, and start using it. And get a feel for Pickit, and they'll also get discounted licenses for additional users if they're looking to add more people. So we'll discount those too. And last but not least, they'll get an hour of onboarding and curation. So we'll actually help to, you know, set up the image bank and the asset library for the company. So sometimes that can be a stopper. People, you know, struggle to switch systems or to migrate content, or, you know, just get the thing set up and organized, and that's where we can step into and provide an hour of, you know, consultation there. So
if you now that I'm hearing you explaining this, I'm like, wait a minute, that means that, like, for the normal, even though it is kind of tricky to define something as normal, but the normal company, the normal organization who has, let's say, 10 to 15 people or 10 to 15 marketing and sales people, they can actually more or less fix completely their whole kind of presentation problem with those images, distributions of materials, etc., just by joining the conference, right? They will get like everyone will get up to 3 licenses for that automatically. They after they purchase the ticket, they get a link, right? And we send them to a webpage that you have built specifically, and like it's only for the conference. And they had to, I believe, only give up name and an email, and that was it, I think, right?
Name, company name, email, that's it. And then we'll by getting that information, we can set up that company's asset library and you know, set the Pickit platform up for them and get them up and running.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, guys, like, for everyone who is going to listen to this one, who is especially in the marketing, especially probably in the marketing or in the sales department or in any department that they're doing presentations, like, take a look at this, because I mean, just take a look at this. It is crazy. The fact that one ticket gets 3 licenses, just do the maths, okay? Like, do the maths.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely no-brainer. And thank you guys for doing this. I believe it really is a win-win for absolutely everyone, including the people who are going to join the conference. To be honest, I haven't seen anything like this being done before, which is also showing us that both your organization and ours kind of think in a hopefully and probably in a very different way in regards to doing things.
Yeah.
Okay. Going back, Henrik, you are the customer person. let's put a tag on you. Let's put a tag on you this way, even though I'm sure that it's not just you that reach out and talk with customers on a daily basis, but all of those products, the new solution that you have done and that you have explained together with Brad, what are the results? Like, what do you hear people say after them implementing and using Pickit? Because that's a powerful tool per se. It's not a coincidence that it is the number one downloaded add-in for PowerPoint, and obviously the business plans, etc. What are the results that people see when they start using that tool?
Yeah, or it's many, but I think the fun thing about this is when I start talking to companies before they have Pickit, it's always I ask them about the pain points, where do you suffer, blah blah blah, and always they bring up like people are really not satisfied with the solution. They have a lot of complaints. There are people that's just emails their presentations and say, hey, you have to fix this or whatever. So I think there's no positive things around the existing templates or the image library that they have, because they think it's boring, they don't find new images and so on. And when we have customers, I usually get if they've been around like for a couple of months or up to 6 months, I usually get an email saying, hey, look what I found on our intranet today. And where people actually say, oh, we got this fantastic new solution. Thank you, marketing team. Finally, I can do my presentations. So I think the internal status for the marketing people is growing, and it's so much more positive because they finally solved something for the end users. I think that's the bigger kind of perspective of what actually people what Pickit solves for an organization, and I work a lot with big organizations, enterprises, and so on. And usually the problem is massive, and the problem is not on the top 3 list, but it's just beneath there. So no one is actually doing anything about it until we kind of starting talking to these companies, and they finally understand, oh, I can change this so easily. So I think that people are happy when they understand it, and often in an organization, you have some early adopters that really finds this immediately, and they start talking about it. Then they do their Monday presentation, and people ask, oh, where did you find these images? How did you do this fantastic presentation? And then it spreads. So I would say that kind of culture around making presentations, getting access to content, is just very positive after a few months.
For sure, you're also. It sounds like you're saving them also a lot of time here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I usually say that we spend like 20 hours individually every month trying to find images, documents, the latest template or whatever it is, and the way we measure it, we can reduce that around 50%, but I would say 30 to 50% of that time can be just eliminated, and you can do so much more important things than just trying to fix stuff or find stuff around and produce your presentations. So I think in that sense, yes, it saves time and productivity cost, I would say, because many times you talk about Office being a productivity tool, PowerPoint being a productivity tool, but it's not actually, the productivity is not in PowerPoint. It's more of what you do with it. And in there, Pickit plays a good part in that sense.
Brett, you're all about presentations. You said it at the beginning. You're part of Pickit for so long now, almost 6 years. However, if you kind of have to switch a little bit and say, okay, those presentations, the people that I see presenting, what do you see in the industry or with the business people that you're looking at or that you're exposed to? What are the mistakes that they're doing? Like from the presentation perspective, what do you see out there?
There are so many, but and that's why we have conferences like Present to Succeed and tools like Pickit. But 3 really common ones I see all the time. One is wasting your intro. The second one is no storytelling. And the third one is too much going on. And I can just very briefly explain what I mean. So wasting your intro, so many people, they start with this really boring background information about their company or their title or, how they ended up there, or, this information that's irrelevant before trying to connect with the audience. Now, if you're a pro, you can probably connect with the audience and inform them at the same time. But if you're not, look for something, a point of connection, a point of contact with the people in front of you. give them a reason to listen to you so you can inform them and explain all that other stuff later, because it can be important, but you have to have a hook. You have to throw a hook out there and get them on that hook so they even want to listen to you and don't switch off in the first few seconds. You only get one first impression. So that's one thing. No storytelling is the second one. And, if you give the human brain, now I'm cool with bullets. They have their place. I'm cool with, paragraphs of text. That also has its place. But if you give the human brain a list of 6 bullet points and then you give it a story, which one's it going to remember? We're created to remember stories. We've been telling stories forever, and even if you're not in the stand there telling stories to try to report on the latest figures from Q4, I understand sometimes a story doesn't always work, but even just using story structure and using the sort of narrative arc, that kind of backbone for your presentation can still apply even when you're reporting on stats and figures and numbers and things. And so that's something we often go into a bit more too. And the last one is just too much going on. So too many fonts, too many colors, too many messages per slide, too many images that don't work together. And I think that one, I've thought about it a lot, and I think that one often stems from a lack of awareness or understanding, but I also think it often comes from a lack of confidence, right? So if you want to look professional, you might think, well, the more I add, the more professional I'll look, because it looks like I have more to bring, I have more to deliver, I know more, right? But this more is more idea, but the real professionals actually know that it's the other way around, and it takes a pro actually to know what to leave out and what to remove and what to keep that will actually enhance the message. So it's a classic less is more situation, but so wasting the intro, no storytelling, and too much going on, those would be my top 3.
Yeah, these are very, very very interesting coming from you and being obsessed with something that's very much related into the design part, and you saying all of those 3 just shows you how many things make up a great presentation, right? It's not just it's not just the slides, it's also the story, but it's also I think that all of you here would agree, that both of you would agree that it's also how you present it, right? The delivery also. Yeah, it's just so many things that can go wrong, right? It's crazy.
I have a longer list if you have a longer podcast.
Yeah, we have to do one episode only on what are the top mistakes that you see with presentations. Just that topic, no Pickit, nothing else. And I believe we will need we'll have to cut it on 3 or 4 places so that we keep it up until and it becomes an hour episode. Anyway, by the way, what you say, craziness, but what you said about the storytelling part is just, I resonate with that so much. And probably that's why you saw that we have, what we decided to do with the conference is also, hey, let's have a track, not a session, a full-blown track only on the topic of storytelling. Let's have one that's only on design, only on tools, and only on delivery. Like those 4 tracks, I think, are what really gives you everything that you need to know to build, design, and deliver, right? To write, design, and deliver a truly effective presentation, and cannot wait. By the way, do you know Candle Heaven?
I don't. I'm not sure if Henrik does. Not
Henrik,
personally.
do you know him?
No, I don't know him.
You really have to check this person out. Like, really.
Really?
Yeah.
Will do, definitely.
Yeah, check him out. He's going to lead one of the masterclasses on storytelling and a session on storytelling in the conference. But he has 2 books that are very slim, and yet they're just incredible. This is the person who actually did all of the neuroscience behind the storytelling, right? He did the lab, he was in the labs, he did the research, he was putting all of those people under fMRI, testing stories, what's happening in there. Like, it is insane. I mean, his knowledge on the topic is it makes you feel stupid sometimes. Like I was reading his books like 2 years, the story proof book. I read it like 2 years ago. I felt stupid, but in a good way again. Like,
Sometimes that's a good thing.
my
Yeah.
God. Like this,
Yeah.
I thought that I know something about that topic. This is completely different level here.
That's
that
so
we can talk
interesting.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, highly recommend it. And he's also going to be part of the event. I actually joked with him that I'm going to be the moderator of the masterclass so that I can learn during the masterclass also.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Smart.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm trying. So you are also going to have a session in the tools track. Give us a little bit of like behind the scenes. What should people expect to see and to learn during your presentation at the conference?
Yeah, so we're going to try and cover those different elements that you mentioned. So there'll be a little bit on tools they can use. There'll be a little bit on the storytelling aspect. There'll be a little bit on design and some of those things that I mentioned. How you can avoid that clutter factor or the more is more tendency that a lot of people have. So we'll be splitting the session between those things, and Henrik and I again will be tag teaming just so you get hopefully a broader package, and there'll be a bit of time for Q&A as well, I guess. You know that better than I do, Boris, but
Yep.
if there is the ability for that, we're always up for that too.
Yeah, we are planning for a 10-minute Q&A for sure. So you as the speakers should also plan for at least 10 minutes of Q&A.
Good.
So have that
Of
in mind
course.
while you're rehearsing the presentation.
Yeah.
Henrik,
And
I think you
think
were about to say something.
No, yeah, I just wanted to add that I think also talking about storytelling, I mean, there are so many dimensions here. And I think what we talk a lot about and what I talk a lot about with our customers is just that basic part of it. And I think once you get into that, like you're saying, Boris, you just want to learn more and more and more because you understand that this is such an effective way of presenting. But I think what we are really good at is, I mean, simplicity in many ways. And I think it's the same for storytelling. We try to just dig down to the basic of it and really give the users what's the enter level of knowing about how to work with storytelling in your PowerPoint slide or in your PowerPoint presentations. So
Okay.
I think that's the angle on our way of talking about storytelling. It's a good start.
I should mention too, Henrik's been doing a lot of work lately with remote presentations, obviously, now that so many people are perhaps not delivering them, even in a boardroom, let alone on a stage. So, that's another thing where Pickit can really help both with the distribution and access to the right content. Even if you're working from home, it's all sitting there in the same place anyway. It's easy to access. You don't even need to go and grab hold of the marketing manager and ask which, template you should use because the right one will automatically be there in Pickit, all those sorts of things. But even how to deliver, a presentation online in a way that's compelling. So that's another aspect. Obviously, your whole event will be built on that. So people can learn about remote presentations from the whole event.
Yeah, and we'll have 2 separate sessions, by the way, one coming from one of our colleagues at Puffington presentations in the US, and one whose name is Luke. He was already on the podcast, and one from, he doesn't need any introduction, Mark Bowen, who is going to bring us behind the scenes and go in the biology, psychology, evolutionary psychology, and all of that stuff, and what that means to presenting online. Mark always does some crazy things. When I was talking with him, I was like, tell me like just a little bit, like, how do you imagine this session of yours? And he was like, Boris, let me just tell you something. I have built completely new material for this. And I was like, okay, enough. I was like, enough, clear. I trust you. Like, don't worry about it. Guys, we started adding one very interesting question to the podcast, and it's all about our guests referring someone else, or you saying to us and advising us, hey, who is the next person? Who is that person or people who care about presentations or who are involved in the world of presentations that we need to get on the podcast? Like, do you have some name or names on top of your head, right? Like anyone?
Henrik? No,
I just muted.
I'm a big fan of Guy Kawasaki. I'm a big fan of Chris Anderson from TED. Those are two people I've looked at quite a lot and learned a lot from. So I'm not sure if Henrik has their number.
No, actually not. But that's also going to say Guy Kawasaki. I think he's a really interesting guy to listen to. But
By the way, he has a
I don't know.
podcast.
Have you? You already have him? Yeah.
What's that?
Yes. There are probably plenty of people, but on the top of my head, I'm like just totally empty at the moment. But I'll come back with that.
Okay, perfect. We will make sure that we try and get those people, because putting and just screaming names like Guy Kawasaki and Chris Anderson is, I would say that you're making my life hard, but I'm up for the challenge because getting those people on a podcast is not as easy as it seems.
I have two tips there. Call Matthias, ask him to be on the podcast, and then ask him to get these guys on board, because that's what he's really good at.
We have a deal. That is easy now.
Yeah, we have a deal.
Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, funny story here, because Microsoft is also partnering with us, you know that, for the event. And I'm talking with a lovely lady from Microsoft whose name is Andrea. And after the last call, when we agreed on all of the terms and stuff, she was like, okay, Boris, can I help you with something else? And I'm like, you know what? You can. Like, you actually can. Can you talk with Panos Panay to probably join us on the podcast and release Surface Studio 3? And she was like, no, I'll do my best. Yeah, but she was like, he's not that busy, so maybe he'll agree. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Anyway, hopefully we'll get to Panos at some point in the future. Okay, guys, where can people find more about Pickit and more about you individually? What is the best channel for people to reach out to you both?
I would say if you want to reach out to me, I mean, LinkedIn is the place that I spend a lot of time. So connecting there is always a good thing. And Brad, you know all the other channels that are important. So
yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn too, Brad Hawks, and Henrik Bergqvist. If you're struggling with the spelling, then hopefully Boris will have it in the show notes or in the title. Otherwise, you can go to the Present to Succeed website and find us there and find the spellings. So, but yeah, Pickit.com is the best place to get started with Pickit, and we have a special page too that we've set up for Present to Succeed, ticket purchases. So that's also linked if you're going that way.
Perfect. So I will make sure that I will link everything, and this will probably be the first episode that I'm also linking the conference webpage in the show notes so that people can get the ticket. Maybe not use even the ticket, but get the licenses. I don't even know anymore. Get to the event. So I will link both of your LinkedIn profiles, the Pickit website and the conference website, so that people can see what we are doing there. Again, thanks guys for doing this. It's already an hour almost of us chatting, and we already have a plan to do one more episode for top mistakes in the presentation world, right? So hope that I will see you again very soon on the podcast.
Look forward to it. Thanks a lot, Boris.
Great. Yeah, and thanks a lot. It's
absolutely
looking forward to everything that will happen 2021.
Same here. So thanks again for being with us, and for everyone who still doesn't know what type of podcast that is, for some reason, we are the host at 356 Labs, so you can check more about what we are doing at 356 Labs and not 365 Labs. Guys, there are a lot of people that still write 365 Labs. I mean, it's amazing if you think about it. But 356labs.com is our website, and again, the conference is at presenttosucceed1word.com. Thanks for listening and see you in the next one.